Hi, thanks for coming back to my channel. Today is a really special video because I've not posted since last year. There are a lot of reasons for that, but we are going to talk about the most exciting one today. Since I've been absent from the Booktube YouTube world, I became a published author. I wrote a book.
Editor here. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that that response was worthy enough for the announcement she is announcing? Do you? The answer is no. So everyone please hype up Chelsea in the comments because this is a huge event and she completely underplayed it. Everyone go in the comments and spam this because this is a huge deal and we need to celebrate Chelsea.
There are two different versions, but I wrote a book. It's called Echoes of Absence by Chelsea Gordon, and it's very special to me, so I'm going to tell you about it today. Long story short, let's go back to when I was 16. We got a call that my dad was in the hospital and it didn't look so good. We were in Arizona when we got that call and my dad was back home in Maryland. My parents had been separated for a long time, so we didn't get to see my dad regularly anyway, but that was really hard. That was the start of my grief journey. I had lost family members through death and friends through, circumstances before, but that was the first time that I had lost someone really close to me. And not quite 2 years later, we got an eerie similar call from my sister's boyfriend. They lived in Florida, that she was in the hospital and it was not looking good. Actually, the first call, I later found out that they called and was like, this is it, like she's gone. So yeah, that was a lot. That was kind of heavy, but that really was hard. And I went through a lot during that time. And after that, just to figure out how to live after loss. That was half my immediate family. There was a lot of grief and loss that went into both of those events, and everything that comes after it is really hard. And I went to counseling, I went to therapy, and had to learn how to go through the grieving process in a way that especially invited Christ into it, because I know and believe that all healing is better with him in it. Cut to the future a little bit. I had gone through all of that. I had been through exposure therapy and CBT, and I waited a few years and then I decided to write. I've always wanted to be an author, so that was not a surprise, but the circumstances of this book very much were. I found a poetry contest kind of thing online. It was a company that was offering free publishing of your book if you wrote it was 31 poems in 31 days or something like that. And their Instagram had 30,000 followers, people that I knew followed them. It looked super legit. And then I found out it was a scam. I reached out to some of the people who had participated in the challenge previously, and they all shared various sentiments I finished it and they published it, but I never got a copy, or they finally published it, but it's been, 6 months and I've not gotten a single royalty payment. So I ended up backing out of the challenge. I did email them and I said, I've learned that this is a scam and I want my money back. And they refunded, I think it was $35, and they sent me back $25 or something. So I'll take it. But through that, I had actually started posting on my Bookstagram at Chelsea Gordon Author, and I posted a reel of what I was writing, the poetry about losing my dad and my sister and kind of processing through that grief journey. And a small press reached out to me. They found my reel, they liked it, and they reached out and, communicated that they were interested, and I ended up getting on a call with them. It was so great because after what had happened with the, scam, I was kind of disheartened, and I was like, poetry isn't even what I write. Why am I doing this? I felt like that was the right thing that needed to happen. They were so pleasant, they were so kind, and they asked for a full request. So we decided to, take a few months, and I think this was in February, and I told them that I would have the finished manuscript to them by July 31st because it was my best friend's birthday. And I think I got it in a day early. But I started writing and I realized that I didn't know I was going to write poetry and I didn't plan on it, but God definitely knew it was something I needed, because writing this book was eye-opening and very therapeutic and just an incredible experience that I wouldn't have thought to seek otherwise. So I'm really glad that that happened. But then I wrote it and the press wasn't able to do it. They ended up shutting down. And it was great, you guys. It was a Christian press. It was incredible. They ended up closing. And I found out 2 days before my dad's birthday, which was when they were supposed to announce that the book was coming. That was really hard. You know, I had done this really big thing in my grief journey that was kind of like in honor of my dad and my sister. And then right before his birthday, it was just like pulled out from under me again. Like it felt like another thing that I was grieving, like another very, you know, intangible loss. But I knew that God put this book on my heart for a reason. And I knew that, especially after writing it, that it wasn't just for me. It was for everyone who's going through grief. I knew it was much bigger than just me getting my thoughts out onto the pages. I reached out to about, I want to say a little less than 20 of my closest friends and readers who I trust on Bookstagram. And I asked them if they would mind just reading it. Like I, you know, wasn't asking for an ARC review or anything yet, you know, at that point, just like no edits or anything. Just, can you read this and find something good about it and give me some good news as my dad's birthday is coming up. And they loved it. So many of them sent messages saying that they were, you know, moved to tears, that it reminded them of their own grief journey, that even though the circumstances of our losses were different, that they felt so seen and held in these pages. And that was the absolute confirmation I needed that this was God's plan, that nothing was going to stop this book from needing to go out into the world. Not finances, not book deals dropping through, not scams on the internet. Nothing was going to stop this plan that he created. So I launched a Kickstarter. I designed all of the content. I really utilized 2 Bookstagram profiles and their help significantly. Anna Barroso, author, she is one of my friends, and she was so helpful throughout this whole process. I probably wouldn't have even had the confidence or the nerve to do it without her. And then Kayla Ann, author, I watched all of her tutorials and I reached out to her to even tell her, you know, thank you for providing all of that. And a lot of other friends were insurmountable in this as well, but they, especially Anna, really just started it. Like, she let me know that I wasn't going to be alone. She even proofread for me. I think she saw Jesus in this too, and she has always been so sweet and so helpful. That's what started the journey. So I made all of the Kickstarter stuff. It got approved almost instantly. Shared it, you know, on social media, and I think it was within an hour or something like that, we became fully funded. And the goal, that would be so incredible, no way goal was 2,000, and we ended up making over 4,000, which is just absolutely crazy. And there was so much that went into that story. I'm still I don't even have words. I don't know how to express the level of gratitude to everyone that I feel, but it was incredible. So with that, because we weren't able to contribute financially, we couldn't start this, but you all made it happen through the Kickstarter. So we were able to order the books. They're small but mighty. We got the original ones, and then we had the signature editions made. And you can kind of tell on the front that the signature is gold, and it's also thicker because the original edition is just the poems. There's 29, which is also symbolic. That is the age my sister was when she died. So that's the number of years she was on this earth. And then the signature edition also has a memoir narrative in the back that tells the real story. So rather than just the poems, it also goes into everything that happened and that led into it. I wrote a book, you guys. It's published. Even from the beginning, it's been so weird because this whole thing is so surreal, and it's so exciting to finally, you know, have a published book, and it's so raw to share this honesty and put it out there. But I know that it's important. We also have some goodies, which was a whole other thing. I placed an order on Canva because we were able to get the goodies because of the Kickstarter funds. They sent me double of everything. They charged me double of everything, but they sent me double of everything, and I reached out to them and they canceled the second payment, and then they let me keep all the stuff that they had made because they had already made it. So the Kickstarter just doubled itself. So we have these books that we can give and, you know, sell to people, and then we have these goodies that we were able to give everyone because we have extra. So we have bookmarks. We've got this one, the blood splatter. We've got this one, the hearts. And we've got this one, the semicolon, for mental health and suicide awareness. And then we also have stickers, you guys. So these ones say Echoes of Absence. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see these. These ones are also just the title. We've also got Please Stay. My dad and my sister were both in the hospital for a week. Non-responsive and on life support, but they were there. It was sudden, but not sudden, because we were there with them for that week. So, and this is also a lyric from a really popular song that you guys may know. And then this one says, love you, miss you, want you, which is what my dad and I used to say to each other on the phone whenever we would call, because we lived in different states for most of my childhood. So yeah, we have all this stuff which wouldn't exist without your guys' generosity and support. I am so grateful for everyone who has supported us and supported me on this journey and supported Echoes of Absence coming out into the world. It's just really on my heart. I think it is so important that people who are going through grief have a community that can support them. We need to have safe spaces and be intentional about making that a thing, because every one of us is going to go through grief at some point, and it does, you know, change you and shape you, and it's one of the most painful things that you can ever experience. But there's so much healing and growth that can be possible, and oftentimes we don't know that. We don't know what to say. We feel like we have to say, you know, the things that people expect, like, oh, you know, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, they're in a better place now, which none of that is helpful. And we don't really know that. Like, sometimes we just don't know what to say. And sometimes we don't even know what we want our loved ones to say. I remember like being mad when it's all that people would talk about, because I'm like, can we please talk about something else? Like, I'm already experiencing this so deeply. But then I also remember being so mad when people would talk about normal stuff, because I'm like, my sister's dying in the hospital and you're telling me what you got for lunch. Like, everything just felt so not okay and not enough. And there were a lot of like deep thoughts and feelings that come with it. Like, I was really sad when my dad died, and I was really angry when my sister died, because she had walked through losing our dad together with me, and I was like, you're making me go through this all over again. And those are the types of thoughts that I felt like I couldn't vocalize, or people would think crazy things about me, like, oh my gosh, that's so mean, or you can't say that. And so I want people to be able to read this book and have that safe space, because grief it's not individual. Like, you are not alone. You are not the only one feeling this way and thinking these thoughts, but it is very personal, and we need to be able to process through our thoughts and emotions in capacities that are safe for us. If we don't have somebody that we can talk to, or if we do, but we just need some, you know, alone time where we can just sit and read and cry, that is okay too. So I really want this book to bless people and help them feel seen and held and valued in their grief. Yeah, so that's that. Maybe I can read a couple if you guys are interested. I do want to thank, you know, a few people. I do want to thank everyone in the Kickstarter, like I've been discussing, but specifically those who are credited in the book. Cover design was by Rebecca Summer. She has been one of my closest friends for as long as, you know, we can remember, and we've been writing and editing and proofreading each other's books for our whole lives. Formatting was by Taylor Epperson. She really gave me so much knowledge on how to format and what that looked like, because that's one of those, you know, processes that you hear about, but you're like, where do I start? And she really helped me walk through that process. And then proofreading, Anna Barroso, as I mentioned earlier. And this book is dedicated for Daddy and Brittany, for all that have lost or been lost, for me and for you. The first poem is one of my favorites. It's actually the first one that I wrote, and it feels very authentic to me because of my dad, and also because of my love for literature. Poem number 1 is called The Sonnet I Did Not Want. I thought you were a ballad, the ballad of my life. Slow, poetic, beautiful. I didn't know you would live a half-life. Shakespeare was wrong, and so was Frost. The eternal summer did fade, and gold has too high a cost. I wanted the gold, I did. But you didn't grow old, and I want to see your eyes, not your lid. Now I know that I cannot expect a ballad from you. You were meant to be a sonnet, I discovered. But I wrote too many lines, and you never recovered. Gosh, I'm gonna cry again, you guys. But there's lots of deep ones in here. The one on the back, Anna actually helped me choose. I kept some of your books. They sit on my shelf. I may have a piece of you, but I don't even know myself. And that was mostly about my sister, where the first one was about my dad. She was a reader, but I didn't even really know that. My sister was 11 years older than me, so we were kind of raised separately. We had to go through her stuff while she was in the hospital and after life support was removed. I realized that she had all these books, and some of them were ones that I would read too. And so I kept the ones that had her notes in them, or ones that I was interested in reading. And I think we donated the rest of them so that other people could read read them. There's a lot that goes into it. I would love for you guys to read it. I will add the link down below in the description, and you can also find it anytime on my Instagram. That is Echoes of Absence by me, and I would love to hear your thoughts. If you've read it, please let me know in the comments what your thoughts were. And if you have read it, something else that would be amazing is if you wouldn't mind writing and posting a review on Amazon and on Goodreads. You can also do it directly on my website if you want. That is really, really helpful for indie authors like me, which means self-published, but that would be incredible. And I'm excited to hear what you guys think. Bye, see you next time.